Hey guys, welcome to this. It's another one of the exclusive videos here for everybody who's bought my guide to English language. You know, a lot of people send me messages asking about this sort of grey line between writing a narrative piece and a descriptive piece. And basically it's about 50-50. People think, you know, they start trying to write something descriptive and it ends up as a story, or they start writing a story and it ends up descriptive. And obviously, you know, in paper 1, in section B, you're going to choose, and you might be writing narrative, you might be writing descriptive. But a good narrative piece has to be descriptive as well. And I don't think there's any problem with a descriptive piece being narrative as well. So what I've done here is I've written a descriptive piece about my granddad. The only way you're going to see this work is in this video. This isn't in the ebook, it's nowhere. And what I've tried to do is to sort of switch between describing and getting into a story. I've tried to mix up the structure, I've tried to do the sentence variety, vary sentence length, vocabulary, punctuation, all of those things. But the big challenge for me was, can I kind of get descriptive and then pull it out to a narrative, and then get narrative and push it back to descriptive? And hopefully this will help you to see a good piece of writing, because when you're writing a narrative you might want to write about a person, but you don't want to write, you know, John was 17, he had a scar down his leg, you know, what I talked about in the ebook about show me, don't tell me. But similarly, if you're describing a picture, you might want to, you know, there might be someone in that picture, you might want to elaborate on that person. So have a look at this. What I'm trying to do is to paint a picture in the reader's mind, and then to sort of extend that into some sort of narrative. Fatigued and at peace, he sits, asleep. I take the opportunity to guiltily stare at the skin on his hands. Translucent and waxy, it no longer clings firmly to his bones, but sits idly, hanging on by just the weakest of invisible threads. Across his hands the veins maraud chaotically, a rush-hour motorway of criss-crossed purple roads. Thick cobalt ropes pattern his skin, silently pushing blood to and from the heart that is weary now, exhausted from a life of challenge. Right, so what I've done there is I've taken the outside picture, the bigger picture, he's sat there asleep, and then I've zoomed in on a minute detail and written a lot about the veins on his arms. He mumbles, inarticulate thoughts escaping from his dream world. His mouth is dry, and the white salt rim of dehydration sits upon his lower lip. He is unshaven, a multicultural population of different coloured hairs tuft from his sallow skin, ginger, the occasional flash of black, but mostly grey and white, the signs of old age everywhere. Now I'm going for a flashback to vary my structure. It has not always been this way. As a child of around 6, we visited Grandad in his garden. He didn't then seem to fit the archaic title Grandad as he now does. He was young, wiry and strong. Firm pectoral muscles rose and fell under his white shirt as he drank cold lemonade. His skin was browned and hardened from the sun like a hazelnut. Following my gaze to his muscular physique, he smiled and ruffled my hair. "Want some of this yourself?" he asked. Although I had opened my mouth to protest, he gave me no time to answer. His tree-trunk arms embraced me, and for a split second I knew that I was loved. Knowing that his actions were too emotional, too expressive for the family we belonged to, he quickly hoisted me into the air and threw me so high that I felt I would land on the white fluffy clouds above me. I giggled, the only encouragement he needed to continue, as he threw me higher and higher. Each aerial assault I was sure would be the last, but his strength never left him. How long it lasted I don't know. In some ways it has lasted to this day, 30 years on. Age has come to him without invitation, without warning. It has taken a strong, proud man and reduced him to skin and bone. He opens his eyes. For a split second there is no focus. He blinks. There, the cloudy pools of green stare at me, their slarer in the rest of us so white, yellowed like the aged and stinking pillows that lurk embarrassed beneath our pillow covers at home. He clears his throat to speak, grasping onto the arm of his sofa to will himself the strength which this simple action requires. "Are you okay?" he asks. I want to tell him no. I want to tell him that I'm not okay, that I want my granddad back, that I want again to be tossed into the air, to sit on the harbour wall eating fish and chips, to laugh at seagulls and to take the role of passenger in his pristine Vauxhall. But before I can begin to mouth the words, he is smiling. His grin causes water to fill his failing eyes. 2 pools sit across the boundaries of his lower lids. He speaks again. Must have dropped off for a bit. As I drive home that evening, I gaze at my own hands on the steering wheel. No cobalt ropes pattern them, although one sole vein does bulge ominously to the surface, foreshadowing the future which inevitably will come to us all. Now, I don't know what you think about that, but I quite like that. And I think what is good is that I'm describing my granddad, but I'm not telling you about my granddad. I'm not just telling you about my granddad. I'm describing, I'm painting a picture with words, and I'm using flashbacks and short sentences and all the rest of it. And that is the set of skills that you need to use in your descriptive and narrative writing.